Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Richard Moglen and welcome to another stock trading video. So the overall market right now is in a correction, but there's definitely a couple things that I highly suggest you do right now to maximize your profits once the overall uptrend resumes. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 4 key things that I think will help improve your performance as a trader. So number 1 is conducting post-analysis on your previous trades. And this is something that I just completed. And basically what I do is I look through every single trade that I've done in the past 3 months, and I analyze how it went, why I entered at that time, and basically looking for any key mistakes that I've made that I could potentially cut out of my trading style. And I've already made a video completely about how to do this, and it'll be linked below. But basically I show you how to calculate your batting average, your average gain, your average loss, those key summary statistics. And the second thing that I think you should be doing right now is updating your trading rules. And this kind of follows from the post-analysis that you've done, but basically once you've identified those key mistakes that are causing you to lose money over and over again, make a specific rule that addresses that issue. For me at the very beginning, it was buying stocks extended. So I made a rule to never buy a stock that has a stochastic, 10-4 stochastic above 80 if it is not a breakout. And that has definitely helped me minimize those losses that I was that I was experiencing beforehand. So I think that's so important, and I'll actually be creating an entire series about trading rules. So make sure that if you're not already subscribed, if you're looking forward to that, hit that red subscribe button down below. And also, if you're liking this video and want to support me and my channel, click that like button below as well. It really helps me out. But the third thing that I think every trader should be doing right now is doing some reading. There's a ton of excellent resources out there from these market wizards who are sharing their knowledge. Mark Minervini, William O'Neill are my personal favorites, but I'll have a couple different books linked below that I think you should definitely check out. You can learn so much from their experiences, their mistakes, their profits. So I highly suggest you pick up a couple of these good trading books and definitely take some notes as you're reading as well. So the last thing that I suggest you do at this time, and it's what actually the focus of this video is to focus on finding stocks that could be the next true market leaders. And how do you do that? How do you find good stocks in a down market? Well, what I'm doing is focusing on stocks that are showing good RS, or relative strength. And I've got a couple different methods that I'm using to find these stocks, and that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do in this video. So the first tool that I'll be using to find these high RS stocks is MarketSmith. And I've been using 2 different screens to find the stocks that are under accumulation or doing well while the overall market is in a correction. So the first is an unusual volume screen, which basically looks for stocks that are moving upwards on high volume. And you can see over here the criteria that I'm looking for: an RS rating greater than 70, volume percent change versus the 50-day average is greater than 50%, the up-down volume ratio is greater than 1.2, the current price is greater than 12, the percent off high is greater than 25%, and that the 50-day average volume in dollars has to be greater than 25,000, and the current price change from the previous day has to be greater than 3%. So overall, this past Friday was pretty good. We had 17 stocks, even though the results last week were pretty terrible. So these are the stocks that are doing well in a down week, especially on this past Friday when everything got propped up with a big bounce in the overall indexes. But overall, some very interesting stocks right here. AMD, Bill, a really good IPO. LITE has been acting really well. Pod, SQ. These are stocks that are doing well on a good day during a correction. So this is probably more meaningful in a down day, and I'll be continually running this screen in the coming days next week. So the next screen that I'm using in MarketSmith is the Webster's What's Working screen, which Mike Webster was kind enough to share on Twitter recently. So basically he's designed this screen to find stocks getting support and or are under accumulation in a hard trading environment. And you can see here all the different criteria that he's using. And on this kind of better day, on February 22nd, I believe, you had 80 results from the scan. Running it yesterday on Friday, you can see that I've got the same criteria here, but you only get 12 results. So it's definitely a tougher trading environment right now, especially with a huge down week. But you can also see a couple similarities from the previous scan. You've got SQ here as well, RP, Bill, and overall these stocks, if you look at their charts, are actually doing very well compared to the overall market. And the idea is that if a stock is exhibiting good RS right now, that when the overall market turns around and resumes its uptrend, these will get an even larger boost and could be the next big winners. So that is how I'm using MarketSmith to scan for these high RS stocks. And the second way that I'm doing it is through TC2000. So if you're not familiar with the software, this is basically what I use for the charting part of my trading system. And a big reason that I like it so much is you're able to create a bunch of different columns over here that can be used to sort your watch list. So what I've done here is I've copied the top 400 stocks based on fundamentals, and I've copied all those 400 names into a watch list. So here you see 405 names right here, and then I've scanned them and screened for stocks that exhibit these two conditions. So the current price has to be greater than 12. I don't want to be a bottom feeder, and it also has to be in a yellow band pattern. So if you've watched a couple of my other videos, these are pretty common criteria that I look for. I basically want a stock to be relatively high priced, and I also want it to be an overall uptrend. So that's what these two conditions accomplish. And then when you scan for that, out of those 405 names, you only get 70 results. So automatically, you've restricted a lot of the stocks to those that are exhibiting pretty good RS because they're in an uptrend while the overall market is in a downtrend. So of these, what I use now is these different columns over here to further screen these results. So the first thing that I do is I sort by a column that I've created that's basically the relative strength versus the SPY, and whether or not it's a 250-day high. So based on that column, you can see that all the stocks with check marks here are exhibiting a really good relative strength because they've made new highs in their RS line recently. So clicking on Doku, you can see that the RS line right here is approaching new highs and has been doing very well ever since 124. So if you look at just the RS lines and go through your watch list, you should be looking for a pattern just like this, where it's higher than it's ever traded before. So I really like all the stocks in this column. You see a lot of the similar names from these scans. You've got SQ in here, EVBG, RNG, TDD has been acting really well. So that is the first thing that I look for in TC2000. The next type of relative strength that I like to focus on in these tough market conditions is price new highs. And that's because if a stock is able to do really well and form a new high while the overall market is correcting, that shows you something about a company. So you've got TDOC in here, Fate, COE, APT, Codex, a couple of these big manufacturers of the coronavirus testing is in here. But overall, these are stocks showing something special while the overall market is correcting. So these are ones that I'm definitely going to be looking at for potentially to add to my watch list. Now, I do want to be clear that I'm not looking to add any positions at this time, but I will be watching these type of stocks very closely. So the third way that I use TC2000 to look for high RS stocks is with a weekly stochastic. So basically what stochastic is basically a representation of where the stock is within the trading range And basically what this stochastic value is how did the stock finish within its trading range compared to its weekly range. So LMNX finished basically near the high of the week, TTD as well in the upper 90th percentile, and I'm looking for stocks greater than 60 here. So you can see there's only a couple. HMI has been doing really well compared to the overall market. TTD as well has been doing pretty well. You can see it recovered after nearing its 50-day moving average here. And Doku as well has been doing pretty well compared to the overall market. So that's the name of the game. You want to find these stocks that are showing good signs of accumulation or signs of not really want to fade with the overall market. So that is how I use the weekly stochastic. And then the next way that I look for high RS stocks is by sorting by this weekly change. So this is basically the percent change from the open of the week to the close. And obviously you want it to be positive because you want the stock to have gained over the previous week as the overall markets have suffered a lot. So you've got about 25 stocks that exhibit those characteristics with these two big winners right here if you were able to invest in them, Codex and APT, and Lake as well is coronavirus related. But overall you see some big names in here, SQ, RNG, DocuSign, TTD, very high RS companies. Netflix has also been doing very well. You can see that on the daily chart, it's got knocked down a bit, but overall is holding its 30-day moving average and is still well above its 50-day moving average. So that is the fourth way that I find high RS stocks using TC2000. And then the last way is with the 30-day moving average. So I want to sort by that column, and to do that you just have to click the top one, and you can see you can sort from the bottom up or top down. So if a stock right now is holding its 30-day moving average while the QQQ and SPY have not been able to do that, that's showing high RS. So I would just kind of go through all these different stocks, and you can kind of sort by two things at once. So you could sort by weekly change and then the 30-day MMA or moving average. And yeah, I would just kind of go through all these different stocks, look at their chart patterns. You can see RNG is forming a nice tightness over here with some good accumulation numbers right here, and is potentially a green dot next week. So that's how I use TC2000 to kind of find those high RS stocks. And the last way that I do it is using my fundamental trading list. And this list will be available in the description, but I ask that if you are going to use this, you leave a like on this video right now. I spend a lot of time developing this and running it every single week, so I'd really appreciate a like on the video. But overall what I do is I normally sort this sheet to find the best fundamentals. But in this type of environment, I want to find groups that are also doing well, because if the overall group is doing well, that means that something special is happening with that group. And I want to be focusing on the best stocks in the best groups. So this is my normal sorting method, which basically sorts based on the RM score, then the EPS and sales score, and then the overall RS rating. So how I'm changing this to adapt to a correction is I'm adding a criteria here, which is the industry group RS. And I want to have this be at the very top, and I want to sort it based on this list right here. So I want to see all the A pluses first, and then press OK. And now you've got the top fundamental stocks, but first sorted based on this industry group RS column. And you can see a lot of good stocks in here, a lot of solar stocks at the very top. You see some payment companies, Paycom and Now. So this is a good way of focusing on a group that by and large will do well once the overall market turns around. So that's pretty much it for the video. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like on it if you did find it helpful. I think it's very important to focus on these high RS stocks when the market is in a correction, so that your focus is on the potential big winners once the overall market turns around. So Thanks again for watching. Please leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in future videos.